December 1980, the height of the Cold War. Deep within the Suffolk countryside lies Rendlesham Forest, nestled between two active U.S. Air Force bases, RAF Bentwaters and RAF Woodbridge. For 3 consecutive nights, a series of bizarre events would unfold here, events that would earn this quiet English forest the nickname Britain's Roswell. To this day, it remains one of the most compelling, well-documented, and hotly debated UFO cases in history. What truly happened under the canopy of those dark pines? Was it a genuine close encounter? A military experiment gone wrong? Or something else entirely? Join us as we peel back the layers of mystery and venture deep into the heart of the Rendlesham Forest incident. It all began in the early hours of December 26th. A security patrol at RAF Woodbridge saw strange lights descending into the nearby forest. Fearing a downed aircraft, 3 airmen, Sergeant Jim Peniston, Airman John Burroughs, and Airman Ed Kabansek, were dispatched to investigate. As they moved deeper into the woods, the air grew still and electric. Their radios began to malfunction. Then they saw it. Not a crashed plane, but something utterly alien. A glowing triangular craft, about 9 feet long and 7 feet high, was hovering just above the forest floor, bathing the clearing in a brilliant, multicolored light. It was metallic, smooth, and adorned with strange symbols, almost like hieroglyphs. Peniston, the ranking officer, cautiously approached the object. He later described a feeling of static electricity in the air and a sense of time slowing down. As he got closer, the craft was silent. Absolutely no sound. He was close enough to touch it. He ran his hand over the cool, smooth surface. It felt, as he described, like running his hand over smooth glass. He took out his notebook and carefully sketched the craft, meticulously documenting the strange symbols he saw etched into its hull. After about 45 minutes, the craft suddenly lifted off the ground, maneuvered silently through the trees, and shot off into the sky at an impossible speed, leaving the 3 men stunned, shaken, and with a story that would change their lives forever. When they returned to base, their report was met with disbelief by some, but the evidence was hard to ignore. The next morning, investigators were sent back to the site. They found 3 distinct impressions on the ground in a triangular pattern, exactly where the craft had been observed. They also found broken pine branches and radiation readings that were significantly higher than the normal background levels, particularly in the 3 depressions. The physical evidence seemed to corroborate the airmen's incredible story. The forest itself seemed to bear the scars of the encounter. But this was only the beginning. The strange lights would return. The very next night, December 27th, the lights were back. This time, they were seen by a larger group of personnel, including the deputy base commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt. Skeptical of the initial report, Halt decided to lead an investigative party into the forest himself, armed with a handheld tape recorder to document whatever they found. His intention was to debunk the wild stories from the night before. What he recorded, however, would become one of the most famous pieces of evidence in UFO history. On what is now known as the Halt tape, you can hear the growing tension and disbelief in the voices of these seasoned military men as they witnessed the phenomenon firsthand. Halt and his team ventured into the same area. They confirmed the landing indentations and the elevated radiation levels with their own equipment. Then they saw it, a pulsating red light moving through the trees. It appeared to drip a molten metallic substance before breaking into 5 separate white objects that zipped across the night sky in sharp, angular movements, defying all known laws of physics. At one point, one of the objects beamed a narrow ray of light down to the ground near their feet. Another beam was reportedly directed at the weapons storage area on the base, a highly sensitive and secure location and containing tactical nuclear weapons. The men on the tape are audibly baffled, describing objects performing maneuvers no conventional aircraft could. Halt's skepticism was vaporized, replaced by the stark realization that they were witnessing something truly extraordinary and inexplicable. The third night, December 28th, brought more sightings. The objects returned, observed by numerous personnel on both bases. They were seen hovering, performing incredible aerial feats, and shining beams of light down into the military installations. The events spanned approximately 3 nights, witnessed by dozens of trained United States Air Force personnel, from enlisted men to a high-ranking deputy base commander. We have official reports, plaster casts of the landing marks, photographs of the indentations, and of course, the incredible halt tape, a real-time audio recording of a military investigation into a UFO. So what was it? The official explanation that emerged years later was simple. The airmen had mistaken the beam from the nearby Orford Nest Lighthouse for an alien craft. This explanation has been widely criticized by the witnesses and researchers alike. Seasoned airmen, trained to identify aircraft and navigate at night, mistaking a lighthouse they saw every single night for a metallic craft hovering just feet away? It seems highly improbable. Jim Penistone is adamant. I was within feet of it. We all were. A lighthouse doesn't leave physical trace evidence. A lighthouse doesn't leave 3 indentations in the ground. And a lighthouse doesn't have hieroglyphic-type markings on its side. The radiation readings, the malfunctioning equipment, the silent, high-speed maneuvers witnessed by dozens. None of this can be explained by a distant lighthouse beam sweeping across the landscape. The official story simply doesn't fit the facts as reported by the primary witnesses. So if not a lighthouse, what else could it be? One theory suggests a secret military craft was being tested. The proximity to 2 sensitive Cold War air bases makes this a plausible idea. Perhaps it was an advanced stealth drone or some form of experimental reconnaissance vehicle. This would explain the military's initial secrecy and subsequent attempts to downplay the incident. The problem with this theory is the timeline. The technology described by the witnesses, silent, hovering, capable of instantaneous acceleration, seems far beyond even the most advanced experimental aircraft of the 1980s. Even today, such a craft would be revolutionary. Would the military really test such a top-secret asset so openly over 3 nights, allowing dozens of personnel to witness it up close? It seems like an unnecessary risk. Another theory, and perhaps the most intriguing, comes from Sergeant Penistone himself. During his close encounter, when he touched the symbols on the craft, he claims he received a telepathic download of information, a stream of binary code directly into his mind. He didn't understand it at the time, but he wrote it all down in his notebook the following day. Years later, when the code was finally deciphered by a specialist, it revealed a cryptic message. The message listed coordinates for several significant ancient sites around the world, including the Great Pyramid of Giza and Nazca Lines in Peru, and others. It also contained a message of origin, stating the craft and its occupants were time travelers from a future version of Earth, returning to observe key points in their own history. This adds a mind-bending layer to the mystery, suggesting the visitors weren't from another planet, but from another time. The Rendlesham Forest incident is a puzzle with too many pieces that don't fit. Was it a misidentified natural phenomenon, an advanced military project, or a genuine encounter with beings not of our world, or even our time? The witnesses, men like Charles Halt and Jim Penistone, have stuck to their stories for decades, facing ridicule and skepticism, but never wavering in their accounts. Their testimonies, combined with the physical evidence and the famous audio recording, make Rendlesham a case that cannot be easily dismissed. It forces us to confront the limits of our understanding and to ask profound questions about our place in the universe. The forest holds its secrets close, but the echoes of those 3 strange nights in December 1980 continue to challenge us, reminding us that there may be more to our reality than we can possibly imagine. What do you think really happened in Britain's most famous UFO case? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the unknown.